They came in fast, way too fast. 3 Iranian boats loaded with guns and guts charged straight toward a US Navy ship cruising the Persian Gulf. No warning, no backing off, just pure aggression at 50 knots. What they didn't know was that the ship that they were charging at wasn't just some unarmed supply vessel, it was a warship. And in less than a minute, the tone changed from intimidation to survival, because when the US Navy sees a threat that close, that fast, there's no time to negotiate. They gave warnings, they gave chances, then they gave lead. This wasn't the first time Iran tried this kind of stunt, but this time they didn't just mess with the US Navy. They messed with the wrong crew on the wrong day with the wrong ship. And what happened next sent a message loud and clear across the entire Persian Gulf. The warning came once, then again. Still, the Iranian boat kept coming. In February of 2025, on a quiet day in the Persian Gulf, a US Navy warship and a US Coast Guard cutter were on routine patrol, standard stuff in one of the world's most watched waterways. But nothing's ever truly routine here. Not with the Iranian Revolutionary Guard's fast attack boats always lurking. 3 of them appeared on radar, small targets, fast-moving, erratically. Within minutes, they were within visual range, low to the water, armored hulls and twin engines kicking up rooster tails. These weren't just curious fishermen, they were armed boats heading straight for American steel. From the bridge, the call went out, hailing Iranian vessels, alter course immediately. No reply. The Navy crew switched to short-range channels, still no response. The tension on board shifted, boots hit the deck and gunners moved to stations. And behind the scenes, radar operators locked in, tracking every inch of movement. At this point, they'd closed within 200 yards. That's close, too damn close. The US's rules of engagement are crystal clear. If a vessel shows hostile intent and closes inside threat range, the ship has the right to defend itself. But the Navy doesn't fire first, not unless it has to. Instead, the ship fired warning flares, bright red streaks across the sky meant to say just one thing: back off. The Iranian boats didn't flinch. They split formation, with 2 veering toward the Coast Guard cutter, and the 3rd staying locked under the Navy ship's bow. Speeds jumped, and, well, it was a textbook swarm tactic, one used before by Iran to intimidate or test US responses. Except this time, they didn't get a pass. Gunners, warning shots, starboard. In one smooth motion, a .50 caliber machine gun roared to life, chopped burst splashed just ahead of the lead boat. Precision warning, not random fire. That changed everything. The Iranian boats cut their engines, one pivoted away sharply, trailing wake, the others slowed to idle. For the first time, comms crackled to life, broken English, stressed voices, but it was too late for games. Because now the Navy ship had them cold, visually locked, range confirmed, weapons trained. The Navy didn't escalate, it didn't need to. Because this wasn't just about a firefight, it was about control. And you know, every sailor on board knew one thing. The only reason those fast boats were still floating was because the US Navy chose restraint, not because they posed a real threat. Later reports would confirm the Iranian boats came within 180 yards of the US Coast Guard cutter and 160 yards of the Navy ship. That's, honestly, closer than you ever want an armed vessel to be, especially in a region where mistakes can turn deadly in seconds. This incident didn't end with explosions, it ended with a message because every move was recorded, every warning logged, every shot documented. And back at 5th Fleet HQ in Bahrain, commanders saw it all live. They saw discipline under pressure, calm under provocation, and, a clear demonstration that the US Navy doesn't back down, but it also doesn't shoot unless it has to. Still, there's no question if those boats had come just a few feet closer, this would have been a different story. The kind where warning shots turn into the real thing. And here's the wild part. This wasn't even the first time something like this happened. Iran's fast attack boats have been buzzing American ships for years. Sometimes they back off, sometimes they don't. But in 2025 they tried their luck again and nearly triggered a response they couldn't walk away from. Here's a question for you now. Why do you think Iran keeps testing the US Navy like this? Is it strategy or just stupidity? Let me know in the conversation, because the next time they get this close, there might not be warning shots. So how do you deal with 3 hostile boats charging at full speed? With calm, with training, and with rules. The US Navy doesn't panic when fast boats show up. They've seen it all before, especially in the Persian Gulf, but that doesn't mean that they treat it lightly. Every move is calculated, every action has a protocol. Here's how it works. First comes visual identification. Drones, optics, radar all confirm what the ship is dealing with. Then comes verbal contact. The crew uses marine radio channels to warn off approaching craft. It's clear and formal. Alter your course, do not approach further. If that fails, non-lethal warnings come next, like bright lights at night, laser dazzlers, signal flares, and horns, all designed to say, "Turn around now." But if the threat keeps coming, that's when the rules of engagement, or the ROE, kick in. These aren't loose guidelines, they're strict protocols built on international law and, years of experience in high-tension zones. For US forces, deadly force is always a last resort, but once hostile intent is confirmed by range behavior or lack of response, ships are authorized to use warning shots, and those aren't fired blindly either. Every burst is aimed to miss on purpose. To show control and, to send a final message. In the 2025 incident, the gunners executed that perfectly. Short, sharp bursts, water impact only. Just ahead of the lead boat's path, enough to rattle them, not to hit them. But make no mistake, behind those warning shots was a wall of firepower. If those boats had pushed just a few seconds more, they would have faced a fully activated defense posture. 50 cals, Mark 38 25mm chain guns, maybe even helicopter overwatch with Hellfires locked in. The entire process takes under a minute. That's how fast things shift from watch to engage. And still, restraint wins because the Navy isn't just about overwhelming force, it's about control, about keeping tight command over chaotic moments. That's what separates a measured response from a disaster. The Iranian boats turned back that day because they realized something too late. This wasn't an unarmed ship, this wasn't a bluff, this was a US Navy warship trained to handle swarm tactics, calm under pressure. And carrying enough firepower to turn fiberglass into confetti. Surface search radar picks up fast movers like those Iranian boats long before the human eye can. Infrared cameras, electro-optical sensors, everything feeds into a real-time tactical display. The ship's crew knows what's coming, how fast, and from what direction. Then weapons up front, a 25mm Mark 38 Mod 2 chain gun, gyro stabilized with a remote operator inside the ship. It locks on fast and fires with pinpoint accuracy. Think of it like a sniper rifle bolted to the bow. Along both sides, multiple 50 caliber machine guns, manned and ready. These aren't just for show, they chew through fiberglass armor and egos. One trigger pull and you're looking at a wall of metal headed your way at 3,000 feet per second. Some patrol ships also carried Griffin missiles, laser-guided precision weapons designed for fast-moving surface targets. One launch, one hit, one last. Boat and above-deck overwatch from the air, Navy Seahawk helicopters or nearby drones relay overwatch and targeting data. And if things really go sideways, there's always a P-8 Poseidon or MQ-9 Reaper circling higher up, ready to turn surveillance into strike. But the most powerful system on board, the crew. Every sailor has drilled for this. Hundreds of hours of training, immediate response, coordination, weapons teams, comms, command, all moving in sync. No shouting, no panic, just smooth execution. Now let's talk about how close this actually came to getting ugly. Because if those Iranian fast boats had pushed just a little further, say 100 yards closer, things could have gone from tense to combat in seconds. Here's what that looks like. First, the bridge would call hostile intent confirmed. That phrase triggers a cascade. Gunners switch from warning shots to direct fire. The 50 cals don't aim near the hull, they aim at it. The Mk-38 chain gun doesn't hesitate. It fires armor-piercing rounds that would slice straight through a fiberglass boat. At the same time, nearby aircraft like Navy Seahawks or drones, well, they would pivot to support target locks, data uplinks, maybe even permission to fire a Griffin missile if the threat profile fits. The result, a swarm of fast boats becomes floating debris in under 30 seconds, but that's just the local damage. Now zoom out. Iran would most certainly respond with propaganda. State media would flood the region with accusations of aggression and provocation. Western media would light up headlines, outrage, debates, and back at U.S. Central Command. Things would shift fast, force posture changes, alert levels rise, air assets repositioned, a regional flashpoint born from seconds of miscalculation. That's why the U.S. Navy trained so hard on rules of engagement. One wrong turn, one engine surge too many, one missed warning shot, and suddenly you're not watching a standoff, you're watching a war begin. 5 miles off the coast of Iran, they came in hot. They thought they could intimidate, but in less than a minute they learned what happens when you challenge a warship with real teeth. Those 3 Iranian fast boats got damn lucky. They met a crew that followed the rules, held the line, and stayed cool under pressure. But had they pushed just a few feet further, they wouldn't have sailed away, they'd have been pulled from the water in pieces. And that's the point. In places like the Persian Gulf, it's not about size, it's about judgment, because even the smallest boat can cause a global incident, and even the calmest crew can turn deadly if you give them a reason. The message from the US Navy was loud and clear, even without a single fatal shot fired. We see you, we're ready, don't test us. This is why presence matters. This is why patrols don't skip a day, and this is why the world still watches the stars and stripes moving across the water, because when something goes wrong out there, it's the US Navy that stands in between chaos and control. So what do you think? Are these fast boats confrontations just political theater, or is there a real conflict closer than we think? Let us know in the conversation. And if you want more stories like this, true tactical and straight from the front lines, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. And if you want to go a step further and support our channel directly, join the fleet. You get loyalty badges, priority responses, and you help us bring more true maritime stories to the surface. Click join on our channel page and get on board. Thanks for watching. And remember, the next time someone charges a US Navy ship, they better know exactly who they're dealing with.